fellow nerds, we are going to talk about Chapter 24, The Return of the Mandalorian. I said that wrong. I shouldn't say The Return of the Mandalorian.
I got my Darksaber. I'm ready. I know that we're going to use it a lot. It's going to turn out great.
Tell you what, why don't I grab it and smash it and then just destroy 1,000 years of history? How about that?
Oh.
You sound a little angry about it, Dave. We might as well jump to the end because we do no matter what.
As we do all the time. I swear, that's like becoming our little signature. There we go.
Oh, yeah, it'll be fine there. Yeah, I didn't like how quickly that was destroyed. I mean, I thought that was kind of cheesy, but, you know, you can't have it all.
See, I looked at it as totally different. This was a crutch for the Mandalorians. This was something that they clung to as the leader has to have this. And it caused infighting between, different factions. Him destroying the Darksaber, if it is destroyed, if it can't be rebuilt. It did, but it's Star Wars. You never know. I think this will usher in a new era of Mandalorians where it's not about who's holding the Darksaber. It's not about this old ancient relic that was a weapon of the first Jedi. It's part of their history. And if you remember, Moff Gideon said, what the problem with you Mandalorians, you have too much power in your trinkets. And she's like, we're stronger together. And I thought that was a huge line for the show because he was like saying, who's taming the mythosaur? Who's holding the Darksaber? And Bo-Katan realized, you know what, we're stronger when we're all together. And I think this episode showed that.
I assumed that's why they made the decision to do that in the show as well, just to move the Mandalorians forward, to kind of progress them beyond constantly fighting with each other, because that has been a thing throughout the course of the the Darksaber's history. And if you want to learn more about that, you should watch Not Your Status Quo and Follow the Fandom's dual 2-part video on the Darksaber in focus. Shameless plug, but anyway, you saw that also in The Mandalorian when the minute Paz Vizsla found out, rest in peace, that Din Djarin had the Darksaber, he immediately wanted to challenge him for it. And it was like, it's... I think Keith, actually, you said it in our video game stream on, Sunday. I think you were the one who said that, as long as it was there, somebody was always going to be challenging someone else for it. So I can see why they probably wanted to finally move past it. It's a really cool artifact, but the idea of it existing within Mandalorian culture and it holding so much power with whoever wields it apparently is their ruler. I get it. Probably want to stop having the ruler of Mandalore challenged like every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
it'll help bring.
I think I mentioned it last Thursday about how often, they're being challenged for it. Like years and years pass by with one person holding it, and then on the Mandalorian, it's been challenged 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Just in the length of this show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I'm a stickler for tradition. I'm not really a conservative person. I like, like new ideas and changing things. But certain things bother me, like when they stopped. Like if you're a baseball fan, every year for like 100 years, the first pitch always came from Cincinnati. First pitch of every season was in Cincinnati. They don't do that anymore. They just stopped the tradition. And when they have a tradition like that that's lasted 1,000 years, I always think it should last. It should persevere. But, I see what you're saying with the liberal thinking of like, yeah, all right, it's new, things have got to change. I get it. But there's certain things I like to, if it's been lasting that long, I think it should last.
What would suck, though? Imagine if Mandalorian culture, if they had to update their currency like England does or the UK does every time they get a new ruler. Imagine somebody challenging for the Darksaber. All right, well, our new ruler, Jim, who challenged for the Darksaber and won because the former holder slipped and fell, stabbed himself in the face. Jim's going to be on the currency, so we're going to have to update all that. All of your old currency, you need to go to the local Mando bank and turn that in. All of your coins are useless.
Oh crap! Jim just died.
Oh, never mind. Scratch that. Jim is dead. Long live the janitor who picked it up after Jim fell off a platform.
Yeah.
He didn't win any competition.
Oh, man.
But think about it. How cursed Mandalore has been with all the infighting. I mean, their planet was basically decimated twice. I mean, so many bad things have gone wrong. That being destroyed is almost a new beginning for them.
Yeah,
and I really hope.
So I do understand that. It's just, it was like the coolest of the lightsabers.
No, trust me.
That
when
what is the Wookiee Jedi? What is his name?
Gunji? Gunji?
Yes.
Gunji?
I love his lightsaber too.
Yeah, his hilt is awesome.
Lightsaber or dark saber. You're just saying that because you own a dark saber. You had a regular lightsaber.
No, I love the unique look. I love how it's a different blade. I like how the hilt is made out of Beskar in the in universe and everything. I think that unique lightsabers, and the dark saber being one of them, are interesting.
Unique New York.
Yes.
And just think,
even like Palpatine's weird glam lightsaber.
Now, I'm glad it kind of got crushed by Moff Gideon, but in that scene when Bo-Katan is flying with her herd of Mandalorians, that's the right term, herd, right? Battalion,
Gaggle.
herd, gaggle, yes. And she lights up the Darksaber, to lead them. I was like, oh, yes. Yes. That looked amazing. But that's the thing, I like things when I can't guess them. I was laughing after the show because of the fact that they called the episode before it Spies, plural.
Yeah.
We had a billion theories about who that second spy was. Yeah, everyone was thinking it. And the whole show, I sat there like, okay, who's turning on him? When are we finding out who the spy is? And it never happened. And when things catch me off guard like that, or things don't go the way I think they should, I kind of enjoy it. Because if things are too predictable, I tend to lose interest. And when they're writing a different way, it was like when you have a very good deceptive writer, and I'm not saying these are necessarily very good deceptively, written, but when someone's writing and you think you know what's coming up and bam, it's something different, and you reread it and see the signs, it's like, that makes my day. That's what I really enjoy. And I think that mildly did that by
when you
tricking
can go
us.
back and see, when you can go back and see what they were laying out there, and then once it's all over, that's cool.
I'm glad. I'm actually glad that didn't turn out to be true, because I really like Emily Swallow's character. I love the armor. I think that she's been a great addition to the show. She's about as recognizable as Din Djarin. And the fact that she was flying in, using her hammer as a weapon, that's levels of badassery that I just really appreciate. And I'm so glad that she did not turn out to be a spy.
Yeah.
At least so far, anyway.
I thought it was going to be Axe when he flew up to the ship out in space and told everybody to leave. I'm like, uh-oh. We're going to find out that he was the other spy. And he's going to do something for Moff right now.
I did too. I thought he was going to hand the keys to Gideon. Here's your cruiser back, sir. Let's go take care of these sucker MCs. And then he didn't. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, and you know what? He didn't even make the ultimate sacrifice. He blew out the window and flew away.
Hey, you know what? Good. I'm glad. I am tired of the whole ultimate sacrifice thing. In fact, actually, Dave, you said the same thing with Paz Vizsla.
Yep, exactly. And you know what? I wanted to say something else about those. What are the red guards called?
Oh, the Praetorian Guards.
Yeah, we've seen them 3 times. Like we saw them in the. Well, obviously they were in the last.
They were in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, and they were. But I've heard of them being badass, but they've always, except for the Paz Vizsla scene, they really kind of gotten their asses kicked every time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The best fight scene from the sequel trilogy was Rey and Kylo against them.
Yeah,
I know you're not a big fan, but it was a good battle between them. I mean, Kylo is no slouch, and neither is Rey. No, however she got that way, we don't know. But they're both strong in the Force, and it was a good fight between them.
Keith, she hung out with Luke for like a day and a half. Okay, so like,
oh yeah,
yeah, and she almost swung a lightsaber against a rock, and then she did that one snap thing. So that's the Force.
She hung out with Han more than Luke. To tell you the truth.
This, God,
that's right. Fatherly fandom is right. They have been around since Return of the Jedi. They were guarding the Emperor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Dave said that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I first saw him. Like when Luke came in, and then the Emperor told them to leave, and then that was the first time I saw them. But yeah, I've never seen them be quite badass. Just that one scene with Paz Vizsla. Other than that, they ended up losing at each fight that I saw.
Right, but they lost to Kylo and Rey. They lost to Din, Grogu, and Din Djarin. I mean, they lost to some pretty, excellent fighters.
They lost to
the one thing.
So what you're saying is, all you need is a main character to fight them, and then they will go down.
Yeah.
If it's an
If you're a side
NPC,
character, forget it.
Yes.
Dave, it's just like the stormtroopers who, if you remember, old Ben Kenobi claimed were Imperial sharpshooters.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless they're facing a main character, then
I'm
they
not
can't.
a stormtrooper, jackass.
Now, the one thing I do want to talk about, I was kind of laughing with the fights, with when Din was fighting the stormtroopers with the Beskar armor. I like that they showed that he was much better trained to fight in Beskar armor than the stormtroopers. The stormtroopers were almost acting like they were invincible because they were, wearing it. And Din knew how to fight someone in Beskar armor because he's trained against people in Beskar armors his whole life. I thought that was a nice touch. Yeah, and he attacked them, and he attacked the weak points and did the things you got to do. Where, the stormtroopers were like, "We're invincible now. I can miss you 100 times. As long as I get you once, I got you." So I thought that was really well done. I really enjoyed this episode. It subverted my expectations a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think it reset the show for season 4 to be kind of what it was at the beginning and lead into a whole new chapter. So, the only thing I was...
going to be one.
There is. There is going to be a Mandalorian season 4.
Do we know that for a fact? Because I've heard rumors that it's been written. I have not heard that they've actually established a film date yet.
It was renewed by Disney and Lucasfilm before season 3 aired.
Yeah,
so there's not a schedule. Just because they don't have a schedule for filming doesn't mean it's canceled.
Okay, I don't know. This seemed pretty wrapped up.
It did seem pretty wrapped up, but we know Dave Filoni's having a movie, in the Mando verse. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a season 4.
Overall, this episode, at least, obviously it was the second part of 2. I mean, if you put them both together, it might... Because I thought the wrap-up on this seemed a little bit rushed. Like they went through all the wrap-up really quickly. Especially with the IG-11 thing. And then the next thing you know, he's just sitting on his porch watching Grogu with a frog.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they wrapped that up kind of quick. But if you watch the 2 as a whole, it might not seem that way.
See, I was kind of happy they did it that way, only because I didn't want Moff Gideon to slip out the side hatch when everything's blowing up and come back again next season. As much as I love, Giancarlo Esposito, we definitely stand him. He's amazing. I didn't want him coming back. I wanted some, closure with his character. Sure. So it was nice that they kind of wrapped this up. Now, did they wrap it up kind of quick? I guess. They probably... I blame that more on this season than I do necessarily on the last 2 episodes. Because him escaping, we should have found out about that earlier on in the season. They could have... we could really do a edit... What do we call it? What is our...
Back to the
editing room.
Back to the editing room on season 3, because I think the way they handled it was not the best way. If we would have seen maybe Moff Gideon escaping in the first episode, we're not sure who, broke them out and then finding out they had Beskar armor and all that mystery leading up to that, it would have been a much better season. Instead, they went the route they did, and it was by far the worst season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
it was still good, but when you got two great seasons and the quality dips like it did for this season, it's definitely disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, the season finale of season 2 had me crying.
It was one of those where I was like, I'm not going to actually say the words that I said as I'm watching that episode because I'm not trying to like demonetize us, but I was just like, oh my, is that what I think? Is that what really happened? He just took out all those dark troopers. I mean, it was like an OS moment every step of the way. I mean, it was phenomenal. That entire just leading up to it, even the hollow message that Din Djarin sends to Moff Gideon was chef's kiss. I mean, it was just beautiful as a way to end the episode leading up to it. Oh my god, everything about season 2 I think was phenomenal. It was so good.
Yeah, and I think there was such a huge drop off to this season.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when that X-wing was flying up, I was watching it like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, I was like 10 years old again. I was like, oh my god, this is so great. That was so awesome. I don't think I went back to bed that day. I was exhausted all day. But I also think, we saw so many people like, well, I can't believe Darth Mephisto didn't show up in the season 3 finale of The Mandalorian. And they're upset. And, you're not going to have something mind-blowing like that every time. We need to, our expectations were too high. We expected...
Temper.
Yeah. And it was good. It wasn't great. I don't think throwing in some crazy... they worked to get that Luke Skywalker cameo at the end. It worked because we saw Grogu going to Tython, calling out, and it worked because they built up to it. They didn't do any of that build up this season.
No,
if we would have had Boba Fett, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Greedo, Bosk, and everyone showing up to help the Mandalorians, it wouldn't have worked because they didn't lay the groundwork for it. So I'm happy they did.
If they would have ended episode 1 or 2 by showing that whole Moff Gideon had escaped scene, and then they had introduced the Shadow Council earlier on, then we could when you're dropping like a big name like Grand Admiral Thrawn, we knew that he was probably going to be mentioned in this, and I get that they're saving him for Ahsoka, but actually getting a scene, I don't know, even just like a hand or something from the back or just something showing that he could eventually be taking over as the next villain. I know that I'm being the Grand Moff Mephisto super fan here, but if we had taken this back to the editing room, if it had been set up correctly, and they anticipated, okay, we know that we're going to be shifting away from Moff Gideon. He's already been defeated like 3 times. We need to pick a new villain. They should have laid the groundwork for it because they've got the pieces there. They just need to put them on the board.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought when I saw the title of the show was The Return, I was like, okay, they're returning to Mandalore, and we're getting the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn because they made a point of it in the one. Yeah.
Yeah. And all it would have taken, not that I'm a professional writer myself, but the way you've seen it done, you don't even have to make a full scene to make this, to have corrected this. You put that one scene of Moff Gideon not being there, you put that in the first episode, right? And then you make us think about it the rest of the year. You don't have to address it every episode.
Yes.
But you have to know that he's out there.
Exactly, Dave. Right. Have that looming dread kind of hanging over, they've introduced us early enough that we know this is going to show up as a threat later on. That what is it called where you've got a shadow and it's kind of in the foreground? I can't think of the word.
It's
foreshadowing.
Yes, thank you.
It's an electricity wordplay right there. The electric company or whatever that was.
And I mean, honestly, think about it. When we had the episode, with only 10 minutes of Din and Bo-Katan, and the rest was taken up by Dr. Pershing, I thought, okay, they did that all in one episode because it's going to mean something the next one. We didn't. They could have spread out that entire thing, sprinkled it in with scenes of Moff Gideon, with the Shadow Council, do all of that. And it would have just flowed so much better and made so much more sense. But instead we got, this season. So I'm hoping they're learning their lessons. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because, we've heard rumors that, Jon Favreau was extremely upset and was going to leave The Mandalorian because of all of the meddling that the executives at Lucasfilm are doing.
So that is true?
I don't know.
Oh,
but
okay.
Seeing how this season went and how much different it was than the first two, I'm starting to believe it. And I think that the reason it ended the way it did, kind of resetting, Din is going to be out having adventures again. We can probably have another show with, the Song of Bo-Katan, where it's her putting back Mandalore back together.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I thought
replace the Cara Dune show.
We could even have the
That's
Rangers of the New Republic. We could even have a Rangers of the New Republic because we saw Zeb, hanging out with Captain Teva. So they got a lot of things they could do. Stop trying to cram things into other shows. Let each story, let each plot line, be itself for these certain shows, and then they can all come together. Hint at things here and there, and then have them all come together. Like, I won't talk about what I think is going to happen in season 4 yet, because in a little bit we'll be talking about what we think is going to happen next in the Mandoverse. But I honestly thought 100% we were getting a post-credit scene on this episode.
Oh, so too. And I'm sitting there and I'm moving past the credits. I'm like skipping forward. I'm like, okay, where's the scene? Where's the scene? Really? I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. Like, that's unlike them. You'd think they would have put something in, like some sort of teaser, whether it was for just another teaser for Ahsoka to really hype it up, or introducing a show that they haven't let us know about before. Sort of like the way they did Book of Boba Fett. How nobody really saw that coming, and all of a sudden it was just like, boom, and it's like, oh, hey, sweet, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I Fatherly Fandom makes a great point. I think that we didn't get an end credit scene there, trying to make each story play out. It's a large universe, and they don't have to connect things like that. I agree. I think that is why they did it. It was almost like Avengers Endgame.
That's a fair point.
They were like, okay, this is the end of this chapter. We'll get to the next chapter when we do. We're not going to hint at it here. But I thought 100% we were going to get that Captain Pelion from the Shadow Council. And he'd be talking, and him getting information. Well, Moff Gideon's base was destroyed on Mandalore. They're taking it back. He failed. And you just hear Grand Admiral Thrawn's voice or something like, fine, I'll do it myself. Well, no, wait, that's
that would have been so great.
Yeah. Or it's something along, like I knew would happen. Now it's time to, do what we need to do. And that would have I would have been, jumping out of my seat.
Ooh. You see a piece of art that maybe like Sabine Wren had drawn or whatever, and he's just staring at it. And then you don't see him at first, you just see the art. And then you hear his voice. As I knew it would have happened this way. You see, I study them, I know their ways, and I will destroy them. Cut to black.
So now do we have, coming up in live action, we have all the cast of Rebels, right?
Yeah. Well, not Kanan Jarrus.
Rebels. Not Kanan Jarrus.
Really?
Yes.
Why? What happened to him?
You have to watch Rebels. You're going to have to watch Rebels.
He went off to join a pacifist society.
Yeah.
He went out to be by himself on Dagobah. He's living in a swamp. He doesn't want...
Okay.
But, the other thing I really thought was a great touch in this episode was the fact that we saw, those crops being grown on the surface of Mandalore or in one of the caves. It was just a quick scene, but it shows that, Mandalore is ready to make a comeback after, all that has happened to it. I believe it was, I can't remember his name, but Dr. Malcolm, who said, life finds a way. And that's what we're seeing on Mandalore. And I really hope, I want to see the Mandalorians come back into power because when they were at the height of their power, they ruled like 1,000 systems or something crazy like that. I mean, they were a force to be reckoned with. And obviously, First Order doesn't want to see that. New Republic doesn't want to see that. Nobody really wants to see the Mandalorians come into full strength. So if they slow play that and start building them back up, they could be a big threat to people down the line. And, having seen that rise to power, it won't be good versus evil. It'll just be like two, governments against each other. And we'll see how that plays out. They could really, instead of having this pure evil side and this, we're all good side, they could really play it off as, there's good on both sides, there's bad on both sides. And it would help the, Star Wars universe make a strong comeback, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
No, you don't. You were over at Lucasfilm telling them something just the opposite. I know you were. Oh, no, that would have been me. I do the opposite. I'm sorry.
I'm sure Doug was pushing his Jar Jar Binks Disney Plus show as the flagship for the new Star Wars.
His sequel trilogy of Jar Jar Binks. Somehow, Jar Jar returned.
How did you know?
Somehow Binks has returned.
And it's literally just going to be him. Nobody else.
Yeah, Attack on Show says Rebels 2.0, which it is, and I am certainly not complaining. I enjoyed the Rebels show. I thought they did a good job, and I think enough time has passed that they can show how the characters have changed and what they're going for.
Yeah,
I'm
Ezra will be
hoping
less whiny
or evil.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's why we haven't seen him.
I think he'll be 75% evil.
So he'll have an orange lightsaber too?
Or
he will
be a Jedi that believes in using both sides of the Force. And that could put him at odds with Ahsoka.
That'd be cool. I'd be interested in that.
He's got one lightsaber for the light side and one lightsaber for the dark side.
And when he puts them together...
Yeah, he puts them together like friends.
I've never seen an episode. Attack on Show makes a good point. He goes, remember when Kathleen Kennedy canceled Clone Wars and said we were done with those characters? That was awesome.
Oh, she was.
And then it came back on Netflix for a season finale, and then Disney was like, "Oh right, people like this show. Let's do another season finale." Finale.
I think Disney execs saw what Dave Filoni had mapped out and was like,
"Oh yeah,
why are we not making this?
Right,
we're definitely making this.
Like nothing is working. Why aren't we doing what Filoni's doing?"
Those last couple of episodes that we reviewed, that was what, during 2020?
It was I think so.
Oh my god, they were so epic. Like, I mean, what was it, the last 3 episodes, I think it was?
The last 4.
Before that was last 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
4
and then everything before that was kind of stupid with the Martez twins, and I guess the Bad Batch was okay, but...
No, remember those Bad Batch episodes were weak. I was like...
Yeah.
Because I still remember those Bad Batch episodes were bad.
What I liked about them was it showed Anakin really leaning into the dark side.
It did. That is true.
And Obi-Wan just like, Anakin, you shouldn't have done that.
All I remember
he
is
literally impales the dude from the Techno Union through his chair.
Yes.
Those were some of the only scenes that I think I liked about it. Other than that, the Bad Batch episodes were because I really thought they were going to do more with Echo, and then they didn't really. They were just like, hey, you're going to hang out with us now, and he's like, all right.
But then
when they announced
the show.
Yeah, I was going to say they announced the Bad Batch, and I, for one, was like, oh, man, that's a bad idea. And then I've really enjoyed it.
It turned out to be an amazing show.
Yeah. And then we got the Martez sister episodes, and honestly, after that, I was like, I don't know if they should even air, the Mandalore episodes. And those, by far, were the best episodes of the Clone Wars, in my opinion. They were...
So good.
Yeah. I mean...
You just can't beat that.
the very last scene where she's looking at all the helmets on sticks, and then Vader shows up as soon as she leaves. Amazing. Amazing.
Yep.
Filoni's a great storyteller. You just gotta sit there and let his stories develop. You know, because they lead somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we need someone when I won't use her name, but we'll call her Kay Kennedy. No, Kathleen Kay. Let's stick with that.
KK.
When she's gone, yeah, KK. When she's gone, I hope they get someone in there that understands you don't have to have massive cameos in every episode. Let the story build. People will stick with you if you write good episodes building towards something. They will wait for that payoff. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to, do the things that it feels like she's trying to do with Lucasfilm, is make everything, the end all best. And you can have an episode that is seemingly filler, and when it means something 6 or 7 episodes down the line or next season, anything like that, people will be blown away by it. They'll stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And Fatherly Fandom says, yeah, let the story lead. Yeah, and it's okay to have a strong male as the lead. That's what Attack on Titan.
I remember I was so blown away by Maul and Ahsoka's lightsaber battle. Like, I ended up taking a screen of it just to be like, hey, you guys need to see this. If you are not watching these episodes, you need to watch it. Check this out. Facebook immediately was like, no, you can't have this up. And I was like, oh, man, like, it's such a cool scene. I want, like, other people to stumble on it, because unless you subscribe to Disney Plus, or you were already aware of the Rebel series, you didn't know that this was happening. You didn't realize how cinematic it was. Like the way that Fatherly Fandom put that. Yeah, it was really, really spectacular. And the fact that they got the mocap work done by, I think it was Ray Park that came back to do that, didn't he?
It was. Fatherly Fandom just said it in the thing. I remember seeing the behind-the-scenes thing with him filming that. That was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. That was so cool. And but I will say, as a plus for us, it did give me the opportunity to play with sound levels and throwing stuff over a video to really test to see if I could trick the algorithm into allowing certain scenes.
What wouldn't get us those copyrights instantly right away? And Attack on Show says it's okay to have a strong male as the lead. 100%. Once again, I don't care who the lead is. Just write good characters. Strong male, strong female, strong, Rhodian. I don't care.
Yeah,
but
like Luke,
it seems
like Ripley, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Just make a good story.
And that's what destroyed the sequel trilogy so bad. It was going nowhere. People were all over the place. It didn't have any characters that you really cared about. Honestly, like, they could have, killed off half the characters in the final movie, and I wouldn't have been sad at all, because I had no connection to any of them.
Yep.
Where it's like, man, thinking about Din Djarin dying in The Mandalorian, I was like, oh, please don't do it. Please don't do it. If anything would have happened to Luke or Han or Leia in the original trilogy, it was the same way. Hopefully Lucasfilm gets back to doing what they do best, telling great stories in a magical universe.
Yeah.
Okay, in the chat, Sierra says, Rey, in their Mandalorian movie, they're bringing Rey Skywalker back. No. The Mandalorian movie will not have Rey.
Yeah, no, that is a separate movie that they're going to be making later on.
Yeah.
And oh my God, Attack on Show said my daughter got to go up on stage with Ray Park for Sith training during Star Wars weekends.
That is so cool.
That is fantastic.
Jeez, wow.
That is something I would absolutely love to do with my kids.
You would absolutely love to do with your kids?
I would.
Dude, I'm going to be out of this by halfway through the show.
I know. We're going all fatherly fandom with.
Will.
That's why I got the big mug of coffee. I knew this was going to happen after last night.
You're a wise man. That's why Lucasfilm
be in competition mode.
I'm not competitive.
I may have to leave the room and go get another one.
Hold on a sec. How many times did he say it last night? I gotta say it. How many more? Oh, sorry. I thought I muted my mic. Absolutely, I thought I muted it.
Absolutely.
No one out absolutely is the key.
You know, it's funny, just to maybe delve into tangent time a little bit, just to
I think we
explain.
already
True. But speaking of, I am an extremely competitive person. I know you probably don't see that with my, silver lining here. But, like, we had to go into the office for the first couple of days this week. We had a meeting with a potential new partner, which could be very big for our company. And they wanted people to be in the office, so it looks like people, were actually in the office because we're all almost completely remote now. And we have a ping pong table at work. And I was playing some of my coworkers, and I lost 2 out of 3 to one of my coworkers.
Uh-oh.
And I don't get
Was
mad
it a
that I
girl?
lose. No. It was JT, so yeah.
You don't get mad that you lose. You get
I hope
revenge.
he's not watching. Oh.
But he beat me, and I don't get mad that I lost, but I'm like, And I was talking to another one of our coworkers about it the next day, and I'm like, yeah, JT beat me in ping pong. She goes, did you let him? I'm like, you don't know me, do you? I wouldn't let anyone win. I hate losing. I want to just keep getting better, and so yeah, unfortunately.
So, because he beat you in ping pong, does that make him the new ruler of your department?
No, because I beat him the next day.
Oh, okay.
So
The next
hold
day-
the dark battle.
Yes,
The
I'm.
Oh, I love it. Oh man, that's great.
No, and you're not doing anybody any favors when you let them win either. They gotta earn it. That's how life works. If you let them win, they ain't learning nothing.
Yeah. It was funny because one day my daughter thought I was letting Sully beat me in Uno because he beat me like 4 times in a row. And she's like, are you letting him win? I'm like, I'm really not. He's getting the best cards I've ever seen. I'm watching him shuffle because I'm starting to think he's freaking stacking the deck.
He's 6. He's not stacking the deck.
Hey, he's 7 now, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry. 7. His birthday was last month.
Oh, nice. They do make a dark saber ping pong battle. That's great.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I figured that something like that had to exist. Come on, like Star Wars is such a. Okay, well, we'll have to make sure that we get you one of those, Keith.
And
whoever
fatherly
beats
fandom.
you have to give it up to them.
I like that. Fatherly fandom has a good motto: challenge people to grow. My daughter, they did this iReady testing and stuff, and she has 4-pointed middle school so far. And we got an email, and she was invited to join the AP Language Arts program at Stevenson. He's like, no thanks. I'm like, why don't you want to do it? She goes, I'd rather not struggle in an advanced class when I can, easily, ace the easier class. I'm like, well, you're not going to challenge yourself. And at first she's like, that's okay. But I'm like, I know you don't want to do it now. Just think about it. There's going to be advantages to taking those classes and learning these things. It may be harder for you now, but it is going to pay off when you're older. I don't know if I got through, but I certainly hope I did. Now, that's challenge people to grow. That's exactly how you got to be.
You know what my motto is? I think you do.
That's your motto?
No. I thought you knew my motto.
I think you do. Great motto,
Is
dude.
it somebody saves me?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
I would what? Oh, you playing it. I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That's my motto.
Mm.
And that includes knowledge. Boom.
I was going to say Sierra just...
got it. She knew. I've been saying it for her whole life. Thank you, Sierra. You said it before I did? Awesome.
Well, my motto is use your anger. Your hate makes you strong.
You are the emperor. Oh, I like that one. Be a warrior in a garden rather than a gardener in a war.
Oh, that's good.
Don't tell that to Samwise Gamgee.
Oh, Sarah's going to tell us her motto.
Be prepared. Isn't that what Scar said in The Lion King?
Oh, no. The Nazi lion.
You miss every shot
you don't take.
I think that was
That's a
Michael
motto?
Scott. I believe that was
that
Michael
Michael
Scott
Scott?
from The Office. Yes.
You know who originally said that? Wayne Gretzky.
Really?
I thought it was Michael Jordan.
No. You look it up, man.
Now, of course, do you guys, while we're talking about mottos and stuff, do you guys know what my battle cry is?
Ouch.
I don't cry in battles.
Smart. You should let them know.
That is sure to strike fear into your enemies.
Terror. I don't think that dude's going to cry.
This guy doesn't cry. It'll be okay.
Teeth getting his troops riled up for a battle. Riding his horse back and forth. Now, men, many of you will die.
That's it.
That's it. That's all I have.
Especially you. I've seen you fight.
You're
going to
not gonna
die.
make it.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
We are outnumbered.
Most
When the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, did we quit? No, we did not.
don't go
Is
as our role.
that how that story went?
That was a quote from Animal House.
Yeah.
John Belushi's character said it, and someone's like, Germans? And they're like, nah,
Tom
he's on a
Hanks.
roll.
The thing I don't like about the Gretzky quote right there, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, is if you don't take it, you can't get 100% of it. So it's 0 for 0. That's not 100%. That's 0%. But, you know, we will talk to Wayne Gretzky about that.
Well, look,
You can't
Dave,
be 0 for 0.
if
Well, you
aim
miss
first-
every shot you don't take. So every shot you don't take, I didn't take 5 shots today. I missed them all. 5 for 5, that's 100%.
You didn't take any of those shots.
But I didn't take 5
0%.
shots, and I missed all 5 of them.
But you can't miss something you didn't even try.
Sure I can.
No, you can't.
Don't tempt me. Don't say I can't do it. Is this a challenge, Dave?
You're doing it right now. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. Leave that out.
Oh, here we go. We're demonetized.
Don't take a shot and you'll never miss.
That's right.
There you
That's
go.
how so many people go through life like that. If you don't take a shot, you won't blow it.
It's perfection to walk a fine line of mediocrity. See, I always heard there's a fine line between confidence and conceit, and I walk that line. That's not me. Someone who had confidence said it. I really want to be that.
Hey, Keith, you just missed another shot.
100% missed them all.
You
Yeah,
didn't take it. You didn't take the shot.
100%.
Absolutely. I'm going to down this and go get another one.
Sounds good. When you come back, maybe we'll jump into the what's next.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
you want to keep your head
well,
above the grass to see where the bullets are coming from, but not so high that you get shot. That
Well, if you
is
wanna-
absolutely true.
Oh. If you want to take us out of tangent time real quick, there are a few things before we dive into the what's next that I just wanted to bring up, and like 1 or 2 things.
Oh, yeah. Sorry I jumped the gun there, sir.
Oh, no, you didn't. We were totally tangenting off.
I
just,
jumped the gun. Don't you dare say it.
Keith, do you know how difficult it is to jump a gun?
Well, I don't know. If jump a gun, I'm just jumping over a gun. I used to jump over my M16 all the time. Yeah, it's very smart.
Yeah, and how'd that work out for you?
great until they made me fire the blanks and I had to clean it.
No, so the thing that I wanted to correct us, and I assume other YouTubers probably were thinking the same thing. So something that we had said, and I realized that we are 100% correct all the time, every time. We're never wrong. Not your status quo. This is known. Trademark, copyright.
It is known, was stolen from us, from the writers of...
It was.
Gigame of Thrones, yeah.
But one of the things that we had said, I don't remember which one of us, commenting on what Moff Gideon had said, he made the comment, something like, the one thing that was, that was missing out of the Dark Troopers was a little bit of me. So now there's a little bit of me inside the Dark Troopers. And we had commented saying that the, what do you call it? The, Beskar wearing stormtroopers were that. And that's not the case. They were not the upgraded Dark Troopers, they were literally just stormtroopers with Beskar armor. What he meant when he said that was he was talking about his own armor. And we actually saw that in yesterday's season finale episode. Every time he moved, you heard that sort of robotic movement. The same sound effects that we got when we heard the Dark Troopers in season 2.
Yep. He was wearing that.
The thing that was missing was me. That's what he was implying. That him inside that armor. And that was how, as you had pointed out earlier, that's how he was able to crush the Darksaber so easily. Considering that was Beskar armor and, his robotically enhanced Beskar Dark Trooper suit was, obviously,
It gave him some advantages with strength and...
A little bit.
I am just sad. It really would have been nice if we would have been able to see a Force-sensitive Gideon. And the havoc he could have just absolutely wreaked on society.
You said it, I didn't. But, no, speaking of that, that's you bring up a good point. So, another thing that I am in disagreement with, because I watched Ryan Aries' video today, and I have to say, I don't think his theory was correct. He stated that Moff Gideon was doing something wholly separate from Operation Necromancer, where he was not going to be the one responsible for creating the Snokes, but I disagree with that.
See, I don't. You tell me your reason, then I'll...
Well, we'll take us back to season 2. Those were clearly, that was the silhouette of a Snoke in those tubes. Those were not Moff Gideon's. And we heard his theme music play. So I think, whether they ended up going anywhere with it or not, they may have just been, pre-experiments prior to him creating his Gideon clones, that he maybe discarded. He probably didn't think anything of it, like, oh, well, these aren't going to go anywhere. They were just, nothing. And maybe that research was grabbed up by Operation Necromancer later on. But I do believe that Gideon was responsible for probably creating the first couple of Snokes. Again, they probably didn't make it. They most likely died, but... I mean, again, why would they play his theme music and show his silhouette in those tubes on Navarro if that wasn't the case?
Well, the only reason I disagree with that is because he wasn't trying to... He was past that by this point. And I think Necromancer, he was not sharing his information with the people in charge of it. Yep. But he had reached past that. And now that probably all of that, the way to handle it, all of the information that he learned and all the knowledge that he gained is gone. So they're still creating it. They're behind where he was at. I think they were just trying to show in season 2 that wasn't perfected yet, because they're going to build Snoke and it's going to be Project Necromancer, and the reason he's so disformed and like that is because they haven't mastered the process like Gideon did. And I think that's what I didn't watch Screen Crush today, I didn't, if that's what he meant. I think he meant that if he would have been in charge of Project Necromancer and shared that information with him, they would have been past Snoke.
Oh, yeah, they definitely would have.
By the time that thing is. So I do agree with you. I do think he was at a point in season 2 where putting the Force or the midichlorians or whatever it is that got him the Force was, destroying the clones. But he got past that and he never shared it.
And so that's why it still took so long to create a Palpatine clone.
Correct. And yeah, Fatherly Fandom said...
We saw... Oh, go ahead.
He just said Elia Kane was probably tasked with wiping the mind of Dr. Pershing so no one else would have it. As soon as I saw that he had mastered the clones with the Force, I was like, that's why he took Pershing out. He doesn't need anything more from him. And he has just stopped anyone else from building, Force-sensitive clones to battle him. He thought he had pretty much...
Do you think there are any other Force clones that he's made somewhere else? Because he seemed mad, but he didn't seem, livid mad. He was just the way that he was phrasing it to Din Djarin, it was almost like, this is a bit of an inconvenience.
But he doesn't really get mad, yelling and screaming.
The only existing Force-sensitive clones in the galaxy.
Well, Attack on Show did say, and Dave and I were talking before we went on today, what if that was a clone?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Now, I didn't see him using the Force, but it could have definitely been a clone there, because Moff Gideon may be smart enough to say, he knows they're coming, hey, clone, take over. I'm going to shoot out the back door, go to a secret hidey hole. I hope they don't do that, but it's certainly a possibility.
I hope they don't do that either. I like Moff Gideon, like we were saying earlier. I like Moff Gideon, like Giancarlo Esposito. He's been a great character, but I think he's played his part. We're good.
We don't need any, somehow, Moff Gideon returned.
Oh, God, I know.
Things coming up.
Please don't do that. Please, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, do not do that.
What we need is somehow Jar Jar Binks returned. That's what we need, Doug. Make it happen.
Oh, it's already in the works. They start filming tomorrow.
Oh, cool. So it's official then.
Yeah. Oh, and just to mix it up, I've heard what you guys said. You thought there's no way that I can carry 6 seasons of just Jar Jar Binks. So I decided that I just sent a message to my writers. We're going to include some droid episodes too.
All right.
Yes.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Some Chopper and R5.
No Chopper. We don't have the rights to him.
Oh.
Yeah. No. It's gonna be. You remember that one sort of pessimistic droid from Rebels? Yeah, it's gonna be him and C-3PO.
Downers.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna call it.
Yeah, we couldn't get R2 either because he's got to be in Ahsoka and Mandalorian with Luke. So
he had a big contract.
Yeah, and Fatherly Fandom makes a very good point. He says, "I hope they don't bring him back either. It gets tiring bringing villains back again and again, especially when Thrawn is out there and there are so many other villains to tap from Legends." Yes, we don't need to have the same villain for 17 seasons when there are so many amazing villains we could bring in from Legends for this series.
Original.
And don't forget to hit us up at Twitter, leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.